everybody? Justin here. So, now there are 5 times that all turkey hunters can get real loud and aggressive. And I'm sure if you've been turkey hunting as long as I have, for eons, that you've heard of the importance, right, of not calling so loudly and not calling so often and not calling so aggressively. But I'm here to tell you that there are times where it is necessary to amp up the volume, to be a little louder and to be maybe a little more aggressive and put some urgency behind the calling. So stick with me and don't go anywhere. I'm going to go over those 5 reasons that's necessary, or the 5 times that are necessary during your turkey hunt when it's necessary to be a little more louder and to be more aggressive and show some urgency. The number 3 reason is that I get to is a no-brainer. It's a common sense one, and I don't want you to go anywhere. I want you to stick it out. Stay with me on this live stream so you can hear the number 3 reason why sometimes it's necessary, not necessarily important. You don't have to follow these 5 rules to call in aggressively, more loudly. Everyone has their own bag of tricks, their own turkey hunting tactics that have worked for them time and time again, year after year after year. And obviously, when the turkey season's long, it's a long season, we have many days to chase the gobblers. And depending on what state you're from, where you live, that maybe you only have one long spring gobbler tag, maybe you have 2, 3 or more tags, and your season could be 5, 6 or more weeks long. At least here in Maine, where I reside, our season is nearly 5 weeks long. We're allowed 2 spring gobblers, or 2 long beards, 2 bearded turkey. So yes, we can shoot a hen with a beard as long as a turkey has a beard, because obviously that's a visual cue to a hunter to help us identify our target, or to let us know, okay, it's most likely a male. Obviously male turkey gobblers have the beard, grow beards, but in some cases hens do grow beards. But in Maine, it's legal to shoot a bearded hen. So as long as the turkey has a beard, we can shoot it. So here I'm going on a tangent here, but stick with me. Don't go anywhere. Number 3 is a really cool reason why calling loudly and aggressively can be sometimes what it takes to get that gobbler, spring gobbler. And where I was going with my tangent there, or me rambling, was I was trying to paint a picture for all of you, kind of illustrate for you see, now I'm lost for words, tongue-tied. Maybe I'm the tight-beaked one. I'm not going to gobble anymore. I'm going to be quiet. So obviously we have there's those tight-beaked, really hard to get, hard to play gobblers. Okay, so where was I going with that? Okay, so while I'm gathering my thoughts, I'm going to sign into my chat, because last week when I went live, I didn't sign into the chat, so it was kind of hard or impossible for me to chat with all of you. Oh, it wants my email. So my email is wildmaneoutdoors@gmail.com. wildmaneoutdoors@gmail.com. Hit next. And then, let's see. Complete sign in using your, oh yeah. So, anyway, let's try another way. So I'm still trying to sign into my chat. But while I am well, I'm signing myself into the chat so I can join the conversation with all of you, so I can chat back and forth. Why don't all of you that are joining me live say hi, like start the chat. Let's start this conversation. The whole purpose for me doing these live streams every week, every Wednesday nights, 8:30 p.m., is to start a community centered around my live streams, to start a fishing, hunting community centered around my Spikes and Gills weekly live streams, where we can all come together in conversation and chat back and forth with one another, so we can share tips and tricks, like fishing tactics with one another, so we can share hunting tactics with one another. In this case, turkey hunting tactics and tips and tricks with one another. So let's join the chat, start this conversation going. Let's get the ball rolling. So enter your pass. Let's just enter password. I'm not going to tell you my password. Well, let's make sure I have the right password, everybody. So, how many of you have heard of, I think I opened up the live stream by asking this, kind of leading with this. Instead of asking the question, I just went forward and said, I was making a statement that all turkey hunters that have been around long enough, have been at this game long enough, have been turkey hunting for years. That's a checkbook, not a password book. I'm trying to find my book with my password. It's in here somewhere. It is in here, isn't it? What? I thought it was in here. Where is it? But anyway, I think I do know the. Where is my password book? It's here somewhere. Maybe it's right here. No. Is there a hidden pocket to this thing? I think I found it. Ha ha! So, yeah, we've all heard that calling too loudly is unrealistic. Calling aggressive. In my last live stream last week, I mentioned covert calling and how a lot of times that's really all a turkey hunter needs to master to be successful year after year if you're tagging gobblers. Obviously, there's times and situations. Turkey hunting is very circumstantial, and that means there's always situations and circumstances that call for different approaches, that call for us thinking outside of the box and maybe digging into our bag of tricks or into our memory bank as to how can we coax in this gobbler, this hung up gobbler, or how can we provoke a shot gobble to locate gobblers, let us know there are gobblers nearby, especially in an area that you're new to. If you're going into a brand new hunting area that you've never been before, you may have never had time to scout this area, it's brand new to you, and you just want to know that there are gobblers around, that gobblers exist in this area that you're entering to hunt turkey. So maybe it's necessary to call more loudly and aggressively, but with like some rasp, some like excited hen yelping with some real rasp and urgency behind it, to really reach out there to the thick, vast forest, and to reach out further distances, and to obviously cut through wind and foliage and stuff to get that shot gobble. So this is the number one reason of the 5 reasons why it might be necessary sometimes to call more loudly and aggressively and put urgency into your calling. And this is the number one reason, to trigger a shock gobble. And that's what I'm talking about now, as I'm still looking for that password so I can log into my chat, so I can chat with all of you, so I can field your questions. So if you have any questions, ask questions in chat. I can answer you through chat, not just talking. And also, those of you that are joining the live stream, you can also start the chat, and you can help answer people's questions as well. So that's what I want to happen with my weekly live streams, is to start a community. I don't want it to be just a one-on-one conversation. I don't want it to just be my talking head all the time. I don't want you to just have to always get the answers from me or hear what I have to say. But I would love for you all to join the chat with one another, ask questions, so other viewers joining the live stream could answer your question for you, and in some cases help me answer the questions if it's something I don't know. So let's see. Let's get that password so we can get this chat rolling. I should know it. I want to make sure I got it right. Okay, yeah. Okay, let's get that password in there. So excuse me for a moment while I get the password going here so I can join the chat. Just hit next. Nice. Just like that, I should be signed in. You have to turn on. Yep. Tap yes on your phone. Oh yeah, I had to do this last time. So I'm going to briefly pause here. What I can do is hit here, let's do this. Give you guys some viewing pleasure. There you go. Give you guys some viewing pleasure while we're yeah, I just need to. What does it say? It says I need to tap yes on your phone. Okay, I can do that. Where is it? Where are you? Yeah. Oh wait, maybe I need to check it. Bear with me. Confirm. Yep. Confirm. Yes, it's me. Yeah, what a weird thing going on. There we go. So what you're all watching right now is my hunt. The hunt unfold. Should be playing. I'm back. Alright, everybody. Make sure we're not crooked or anything. Yeah, what you're seeing here is a hunt unfold. See that gobbler playing hard to get, going up around the corner. I'll get back to this hunt in a moment. First, I want to continue on the number one of the 5 reasons why you and I, as turkey hunters, might want to call more loudly and aggressively. And number 1 of the 5 reasons where it might be necessary, really, to call more aggressively with urgency. Now, the number 1 reason is to trigger a shot gobble. We've all heard of crow calling to try to provoke a shot gobble, using owl calls, using a coyote howler, something like that, something loud and boisterous that really reaches out there far distances. We've all heard of all those methods and ways to get a shot gobble. But obviously, crow calling and owl hooting, and coyote calling, stuff like that, they're over-marketed, over-advertised ways, methods to really to try to get shot gobble. Think of all the millions of turkey hunters out there in the world that are using the crow hooter call or the crow call and the owl hooting and the coyote howler and all the turkey hunters that are using the big loud box calls to try to resonate that sound out there far distances to get a shot gobble. Think of all the educated turkey in the woods. I have witnessed myself gobblers not shot gobbling to hunters using owl calls and box calls, just conventional yelping on a box call to try to provoke shot gobble. I was in the area hunting. The gobblers were gobbling all on their own right as the day was breaking, right as daylight was breaking, as dawn was coming. I knew they were there. I was hearing them gobble all on their own. I never had to make a peep. No calling from me necessary to hear the gobbling from the gobblers. I knew they were there. And while I was sitting there, so I was getting all settled in, waiting for daylight break for the hunt to unfold, I heard a truck pulling up on the long side of the road and pulling over. I heard the door slam, and I heard the hunter hammering that box call. And the gobblers that were once earlier gobbling on their own, they shut right up. They never responded to that hunter trying to get a shot gobble using a box call, just yelping loudly on a box call. They never shot gobbled. He went on his merry way, and my hunt went on. So that really, sometimes it's necessary that we think of a scenario in our heads. Yeah, there I am going live. So really, guys, play out a scenario now. Think of it as like a TV show, right? Think of it as a script for a show that you're filming, and you're getting all your B-roll shots. You've got a script to follow. Think of it like that. And play out a scenario with your calling, with the calls. If that's what you want, to just get a shot gobble, if that's the reason, and you're in an area where you're not sure there are gobblers nearby just yet, or it's new altogether to you, a new hunting area, do some really loud clucking. Do some cutting, some hen cutting. And then this is a horrible sounding call, isn't it? So I have here I'm not going to really tell you what it is. Well, you might know, you can't see. I'm not going to tell you. Well, actually, how many of you recognize this call? This has been on the market for eons. It's a very popular call company. Deer call company, turkey call company. It's a very popular hunting company. How many of you have ever seen one of these? This can be tied right onto the underside of your shotgun. So, and this string is for pull. You could have the string tied around your finger, so that when the gobbler's close, almost within shotgun range, you're getting ready to shoot him, he might be hung up a little bit. Maybe he's looking real hard for you. He's wanting to really know where you're at. Obviously, the hen, you've been mimicking a hen, but the hen is really you. When you've been calling and you coax him and you got that gobbler's attention, you got him fired up, got him to come into your setup. So you can, with this type of call, if you need to stop him or get him to stretch his head or something, you can do a 2-note yelp or a couple clucks or something to get his attention, to get him to gobble and get him to turn, and maybe get him to come in a little closer, a few more steps to give you that shot. Yeah, it's kind of a horrible sounding call. But yeah, so covert calling is just that soft, subtle, that 2-note yelp in that 30%, maybe 20-30% volume that this call can make. This is covert calling, that what we all have learned to do to sound more realistic. But clearly 99% of the time out there in the turkey woods, the turkey aren't calling very loudly. And for obvious reasons, they don't want to give their location away to predators. They're not going about their daily routines, yelping very loudly, clucking very loudly, purring very loudly, giving their locations away to coyote, bobcat, hawks, weasels, anything that would kill and eat turkey. And obviously to not give their locations away to you, the hunter. We're a predator of the turkey too. So they're not going around broadcasting their location, especially hens with poults. The hens aren't teaching poults to call often and loudly, because that would just wreak havoc on the poults and the hens. Obviously that would attract predators to their whereabouts, and the poults would get killed and eaten, and the hens themselves could be killed and eaten. So for the most part, 99% of the time, covert calling is really all a turkey hunter needs to master and get down and to use to be successful, to coax in them hard to get, them big, mature, older gobblers that don't gobble very much at all in the day, and they're just maybe just floating around their range and their core area, looking and listening for hens and grazing and just going about their merry way. But maybe that soft, subtle, once he hears it, you might get that gobble out of him, and that soft, sweet nothing. You're whispering the sweet nothings in his ear. That hard to get gobbler. That's the covert calling that we all know, that we've all been taught and told time and time again to do. Just a couple clucks and a toot toot, 2 or 3 note yell. But let's say you want to get a shot gobble out of a gobble. You really, say you're in an area where you really need your call to resonate far distance. You want to get out there, let it reach out there far, far away. And you need to cut through the wind a little bit. And you need to cut through the foliage and the thick forest to really get your call to resonate out there in far reaches. So you can try to get a shot gobble like a mile away on nearby ridges or something. Then maybe it's necessary to ramp it up, sound like more aggressively, and do some cutting. And then some excited hen yelping or something to get that shot gobble in the distance. That's the number 1 reason of the 5 reasons I'm going to share with you in this live stream why it might be necessary sometimes, or might be useful to you, to call more loudly, aggressively, and with more urgency. The number 2 reason, this is where I have a story to share with you, a really good hunting story to share with you. The number 2 reason why it might be necessary to call more aggressively and with urgency is to break up a hen competition. Maybe you're competing with a boss hen, or there could be a boss hen, multiple hens yelping and cutting and yelping and getting them gobblers fired up, shot gobbling to them, and those hens are keeping the boys with them. Those gobblers are henned up. They're stuck with that boss hen. They don't want to break and leave her side. So a lot of times, pretty much 100% of the time, if you have henned up gobblers with a boss hen, a really bossy, aggressive hen that's cutting and yelping really loud, doing her excited cutting and yelping, and keeping those gobblers entertained, and keeping those gobblers by her side, the 100% of the time, this is when it's necessary for you to get more aggressive and loud and mimic that boss hen. If she's cutting, you cut. If she's yelping loud, you yelp loud. If she yelps 4 times loudly, you yelp 4 times loud. Mimic her. Play bossy, sassy hen yourself and get her attention, man. Get that boss hen to break her ground, to want to come into you, to your location. And she will obviously pull those gobblers in tow. Those gobblers will follow suit. And so this is a great time to share a really awesome story with all of you, where I used this tactic to break a hen, to get a boss hen to come to me. This is awesome. So I was tongue-tied and a little twisted there in my words. I sounded like a numma, like I didn't know what I was talking about. But that's okay. You guys don't mind, do you? This is in the raw, baby. We're going live, raw, no editing. Yeah, what you all think? How come the chat is quiet? Why aren't there anyone joining? Yeah, where is everybody? Let's see, who do we have on here? We've got 10 views so far, 3 concurrent viewers. Let's get the chat rolling. Hello, everyone. Hey, I'm getting ready to start a story. All right. The moment you've all been waiting for. Let's get this going. Okay, so I was actually hunting a power line. And this power line I've hunted for years. I haven't been back to this power line in a year or two. Every now and then I catch myself on this power line. But long story short, I was not getting any response, no shot gobbles. And my calling, I was doing like a run and gun thing, hugging the wood's edge along the edge of a power line, calling every now and then to try to provoke a shot gobble. That's That's the number one, right? The number one reason to call more loudly, aggressively, to provoke a shot gobble. So now we're on number two reason. This is breaking up a hen competition. A hen competing with you. A boss hen playing sassy, bossy hen, not wanting her gobblers to go anywhere and not wanting them to come to you. There I was, working my way to a field edge off of this power line. And I look across my binoculars and I see hens with gobblers. I see a strutting tom and some hens. And they're way out there, a couple 100 yards away across this field under some apple trees. They were way, way, way out there. And I heard the vocalizations. I heard a gobble, distant gobble. I heard a hen being vocal, and then the gobble in response to her. I'm like, oh, great. These gobblers are henned up. What do I do now? And I had to think outside the box. I had to think of all the turkey hunting tactics and stuff that I've learned over the years. Like, oh yeah, light bulb went off in my head. I can mimic her. I can play hard to get to. I can, for a better lack of words, everyone, I can piss off that boss hen, make her want to do an about face and come my way and hopefully pull in the gobbler, and those gobblers are with her way as well, to come to my location. So I got out a box call, one of my loudest box calls that I owned at the time, and I started a cutting sequence. I started cutting, and then some aggressive, urgent yelping, cutting, and some. But it obviously sounded way better than that on the box call. That's called, man. I don't know about that. I haven't used that. I haven't been using that call for obvious reasons. It sounds horrible. But yeah, I got an immediate response from a gobbler. I think the gobblers did shot gobble to my calling, but I got a response from that boss hen out there that had them gobblers henned up. She yelped back, and she started cutting herself. She answered my cutting, so I answered back. And then she'd go to yelping very loudly and aggressively, and I'd yelp aggressively and loudly. We played back and forth. I'd mimic her. Whatever I did for a call, she'd call back. Whatever she did for a call, I'd call back. And we were doing this back and forth, bickering back and forth, like I was pretending to be a boss, sassy hen, and she was being the boss girl, and we were fighting, kind of arguing back and forth. And she was not taking it. It pissed her off, man. She came right on a string, everybody, with those gobblers in tow. And at this time, once I saw them coming my way, I was exposed and wide open. I had to retreat back to my blind. What I failed to mention earlier was I had a blind already set up, tucked inside the woods on the edge of this power line that I periodically would sneak out to and put out a decoy spread and do some covert calling, just hopes to maybe coax in a nearby gobbler. So what I decided to do was retreat to that blind that I had kind of permanently left there. I had it labeled, obviously, with my name and phone number. It was 100% legal, labeled blind with my name, phone number, address. You got to keep everything legal, right? I had landowner permission, all that. You got to keep it legal. Always remember that, ethical and legal. So I retreated to the blind, got in the blind to hide all my extra movement, so forth. And I had my windows open in the front, shooting window here to my left and right. I didn't open up any windows behind me because they were coming from behind me, and I didn't want them to see my sudden movements inside the blind. So I left my back windows closed, and I settled in there and let them. And I did some more calling. I did another aggressive calling sequence out of my box call, just to keep her coming, keep her interested in wanting to come to fight me and whoop my butt. I was another hen playing ball, playing sassy and bossy, and she was a pissed off hen wanting to come fight the other hen, which was me in this case, right? And they come right in behind my blind, within like 15 yards behind my blind, everybody. And I had no shooting window open behind me, and I didn't dare to open up a big flap. And another thing I failed to mention, geez, I'm just horrible at this storytelling art. I forgot to mention I only had a bow and arrow with me. Yes, I was bow hunting turkey at this one time. This was a hunt that took place a couple years ago, or more, maybe 3 years ago now. But this is a really cool story to illustrate the number two reason why it's sometimes necessary to call loudly and aggressively to kind of, when you're competing with henned up gobblers. So, yeah, they come in behind me and they hang up behind me. And I had no shooting window open. They drifted off to my left, down over the embankment, the ridge in front of my blind, and kept drifting left. They never came out in front of my blind and towards my decoys to give me a shot with my bow. But that hen, when she broke out into the power line, she did see the decoys, and she did some like cucking. She did some, like, maybe she even went to putting a little bit, but she did some type of calling once she saw my decoys, and she decided to keep going left, going away from my set and pulling the gobblers with her. So long story short, they went off away, out of range, never gave me a shot. But the whole point of that story was to illustrate the number 2 reason, everybody, to call aggressively and more loudly, and that's to piss off a boss hen. If you have henned up gobblers, everyone, and she's cutting and calling, yelping loudly and excitedly to keep them gobblers with her, just mimic her, and you start cutting back. If she cuts, if she yelps loud, you yelp loud. Mimic her and call aggressively and loudly to that boss hen. Get her wanting to come whoop your butt, you the hen, so that she could pull those gobblers to you in hopes for you to shoot one of those gobblers. So, all right, everybody. So before I go on to the number 3 reason, third reason why it might be necessary to call loudly, I want to share a hunt with all of you. So here's a hunt. I don't know if you all can still hear me. Turn the volume down. I think the volume is very loud on this hunt. If I remember it, you're probably like, man, that's loud. I'm gonna keep my voice volume up. So here, this is a hunt that I was on. You can see that gobbler. He went away. Here, let's do this. Got an idea. Here we go. So what's going on here, everybody, is this gobbler came in. He saw my decoy spread, and he hung up once he saw my decoys, because I had a Jake decoy fanned out. And I do recall earlier in the morning, 2 gobblers with a hen came by earlier, and they never answered my calling. They never committed to my decoys. They were hen. Those gobblers were with a hen, and that hen had a mission. She was wanting to go from point A to point B in a hurry, and those gobblers followed suit. I do believe that these 2 gobblers whooped this gobbler's butt. This gobbler that I eventually do shoot with my bow, I think he was in a fight. There was a gobbler fight going on earlier in the morning, and I think he got spurred and beat up, and I don't think he was about to come into my Jake decoy to get his butt whooped again. I think that's why he hung up off in the distance, like 100 yards. But he would shot gobble to my call, and he'd gobble to my decoys in hopes the hen would break from him, from my fake decoy, Jake decoy, and go to him. He wasn't getting a response from the hen. She wasn't following suit. But yeah, long story short, he went out of sight. He went up the field out of sight, and as you see here, yeah, that's him. It's him coming back. So you'll hear me call. Here he is coming back. I think I'm calling right about here. So what I do, actually, like what my brain was thinking, just let him go out of sight. Let him around the corner, go away from me, and then I'll call to him again. And as you can tell, my calling sounds horrible. I'm gonna turn up the volume a little bit. But I sounded raspy though. My box call was raspy sounded. It must have sounded like a different hen to him, and it wheeled him right around. So here he comes, coming into my decoy spread, and he's coming in half strutting. So he immediately answers my So back here about where I was calling. So right about here, I believe I'm calling with my box call, everybody. And I get an immediate response from him. He shot gobbles to it right away. So I know that he liked it, liked what he heard. And then I go silent for a few moments, and then I decide to call again, and I don't get another gobble out of him. But then I stop calling, and he gobbles on his own. But this time he sounds closer. It sounds like he turned around and is coming my way. Sure enough, he is. Here he is. Coming back, everybody. Let's watch this hunt. Let's go ahead and watch this hunt unfold, shall we? So there he is, going away. Going up, but I call right about here. And then he comes back. So here, there. Let's go to the point where he's coming back, everybody. Right about there. Alright. Let's watch this hunt unfold. They're coming to fight, I think. Here, we'll speed it up a little bit for all of you. Let's get to the meats and potatoes. There we go. So this is my ghost blind that you see in the corner. So I'm behind my ghost blind, everybody. And as you see, I got my Jake decoy and hen spread out there. So he hung up off to the left about 100 yards away earlier. And he wouldn't commit to the decoys, and he wouldn't commit to any calling I did. He just shot gobble. And he went out of sight way up the field and around the corner. And I let him do that. I stopped calling altogether. I went quiet. I waited for him to get out of sight before I called loudly and aggressively with my box call. I got real raspy sounding, and I called very loudly. And I got an immediate response from him. And I'm like, oh, he likes that. And I called one more time moments later. And I didn't get a shot gobble out of him. But then he did gobble on his own, let me know he was coming. Sure enough, here he is. Alright, so I'll be quiet and let you guys watch the hunt. So, what'd you all think of that hunt? Pretty cool, huh? Yeah, there he is, going away. Story of my life. Yeah. There he is, going away. Yeah, there we go. Let's get him coming. Yeah. So let me know in the chat what you guys all thought of that bow hunt. I killed that gobbler with my bow and arrow, 20-yard shot. and he died right in sight, right in the field. He never left the field. How awesome is that? But that hunt illustrates an example of when it was necessary for me to be more loudly. I wasn't just sitting there covert calling. When that gobbler played hard to get and he went out of sight and he was far away, a couple hundred yards away around the corner with trees in between us. So I had to get my sound, the sound of my call, to cut through those trees and get around the corner, and I had to let my call get out there a distance away, quite a ways away. So that was when it was necessary for me to call more loudly and to put some urgency into it, some rasp, make it sound more excitable, to trigger that like kind of breeding response out of him, to get him to shock call. Get that. Pretty much what I did is I played a scenario in my mind that, okay, yeah, this is a gobbler. It's springtime, it's the mating season. He wants to win the breeding rights, right, over on this hen. I would imagine he wants to have his chance with a hen, right? So I think I triggered that breeding response, that territorial breeding response in him. And that's why I think he'd come on in, half strutting, putting on a show. He's circling my Jake decoy. He wants to pounce. He wants to spur that Jake decoy and beat him up to win over the breeding rights of the hen, that fake hen I have, right? So how cool is that? Oh, here we just got a chat in from Zach 3086. Says nothing like it, can't beat it. Nothing like it, can't beat it. How you doing, Zach? Have you already been hunting, or are you from Maine? Zach 3086. Are you a Maine turkey hunter, or are you from another state? So I just shared 3 reasons, Zach. If you're just joining now, I shared 3 of the 5 reasons why it might be necessary for you and I and all turkey hunters to call more loudly sometimes. The turkey hunt is circumstantial, just like deer. All hunts are circumstantial. There's certain circumstances that call for more aggressive, louder calling, that might call for getting up and making a move. Certain circumstances that call for staying put, being quiet still. No matter if you're on a deer hunt, moose hunt, turkey hunt, coyote hunt, doesn't matter the hunt. It's all circumstantial. You got to be woods wise, use your woodsmanship skills, use your common sense. Okay, it's very windy, and there's lots of woods between me and where I know those gobblers might be. I've got to get through foliage, so I want my call to resonate and break through the foliage and through the trees of the forest and get out there far. I need my call to break through the high wind. On the flip side of that, it could be a calm day, and maybe you hear spitting and drumming like 30 yards away, 450 yards away. Maybe you hear scratching in the leaves. Maybe you know there's hens nearby, feeding by. Maybe you've heard a few distant gobbles and it's calm. Then it might be necessary to just stick to the covert calling, that soft, subtle calling. But yeah, so Zach, are you a Maine turkey hunter? Or are you out of state? Let us all know. So when did you ever have to call loudly and aggressively and urgent during one of your turkey hunts? I just got done sharing a story about when I was challenging a boss hen. I was pretending to be a boss, sassy, pissed off hen myself, and I had to challenge another boss, sassy hen that had gobblers with her. Have you ever had? Oh, awesome! Thank you, Zach. So you're a Maine. Almost time to get after it. Nice. So Zach, everybody, is a Maine turkey hunter. And yes, opening day is the 4th, isn't it? Youth Day is this Saturday. Zach, do you have any kids that you're taking out Saturday? Turkey hunting. Bryson, are you going to want to go? Youth Day, couple hours. I'm asking my son again. He already knows it's coming up. I've been trying to get him in the mindset to go turkey hunting with me this Youth Day. So how about you, Zach? You got any kiddos you're going to take out this Saturday? But for you and I, buddy, we get to get after it Monday, May 4th. Right on. Can't wait. Yeah. So, yeah. All right, well, let's get to the number 4 reason why. I see I've been live about 44 minutes. Let's get to the 4th reason why it might be necessary or why it might be important to call loudly and aggressively. How about this one, everybody? Cut through the wind. I've been mentioning this already often. I'm being a broken record here. Let's see, Zach says, everybody, I had a tom henned up 2 years ago and had to hammer at him and pulled him off her. So, see, that's cool, everybody. See, I just got done sharing a story of a similar situation that Zach just had. If you're reading the chat, see what Zach wrote. I had a similar situation a couple years ago too, but I actually got the hen to come in with the toms behind her, the gobblers following suit. But Zach got the gobbler fired up, got the gobbler to break from the hens to come to him. And sometimes that happens. Sometimes you're just working on, you're pushing the buttons of the territorialism in him, and you're pushing the buttons of that breeding response. Him just, if you're getting real aggressive, cutting, urgent, you're triggering that breeding response in that mature, older tom. And sometimes he might break from the hens, his harem of hens. And it could be like the scenario I'm thinking of in my mind here. It could be that, okay, those hens aren't going anywhere. He's been with these hens for weeks, months on it. He knows these hens are just going to feed, continue grazing about. He knows these hens aren't going far. He knows where these hens always hang out because they live there, right? This is their home range, their core area. He knows those hens probably aren't going anywhere. So I'm thinking that, Zach, your aggressive, excited, more urgent calling played out that this got that breeding response and territorial response in him going, got him fired up. And it was like, man, there's a hen I left behind, or hen I didn't know about was out around. I want her to join my party. I want her to join my harem of hens. So he was coming to you to pull that hen with him, hoping that hen would eventually follow him back to his harem. And obviously you pulled him off her. And then, yes, I have a niece and nephew to take. Nice. So I hope you guys are successful this youth day. I hope your niece and nephew are successful this youth day. So, Zach, did you shoot the tom, that tom turkey, that gobbler that you pulled off the hens, and that eventually did come to you? Did it say that you shot? Said, you exactly right. I can do a half-ass call with a diaphragm call, and he was wound up enough to come. Nice. Oh, so you challenged. Yeah, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the gobble. Oh, if you've been turkey hunting long enough, you have every call under the sun in your vest pocket, whatever you pack, wherever you use to carry your calls. Almost all turkey hunters have a gobble type call. Or some people will even gobble with a diaphragm in their mouth and make a gobble with a diaphragm in their own voice to trigger that challenge response out of the gobbler, trigger that, to get that gobbler to come and to whoop your butt. You're playing the gobbler. It's challenging him. So, yeah. So that's cool and neat. Thank you for sharing that, Zach. Yeah, and obviously in my story earlier, I shared a scenario where I got a boss sassy hen to respond to me and to come to me to try whoop my butt, whoop the hen's butt. But that's great, Zach. Thank you for sharing this, by the way. So yeah, you can in some cases call loudly and aggressively with a gobble. Sometimes it's necessary to gobble. And hopefully that you're not in an area with a lot of other turkey hunters, and then you're not attracting other turkey hunters to your location when you play the gobble, when you use your gobble call. For safety reasons, obviously. But sometimes it's necessary to gobble at henned up gobblers to get them to want to come whoop your butt. Or you can just mimic that boss hen, mimic the hens that are with him. Get the hens to get pissed off. Get them fired, the hens fired up to want to come to whoop your butt, the hen's butt. And obviously those gobblers will be marching in tow. So the fourth reason. Okay, so the fourth reason, I had to look at my bullet point. Cut through the wind and reach out there far distances. It could be mid-season, later season when the leaves are on thick. You could have thick foliage. You could have thick, vast forest. And you want to cut through the forest and reach out the far distance to fire up a gobbler, to get it to pull in a gobbler, maybe. And it could be that your soft, subtle calling isn't just cutting, isn't really reaching out there far enough. Maybe you've been started. It's how many of you know? It's something Warburton. Everyone knows the hunting public. You, Zach, I'm sure you've ever heard of the hunting public. It's Kyle Warburton, or anyways, the hunting public crew. They'll tell you, if you watch their hunting videos and listen to their podcasts, or the Southern Outdoorsman Hunting Podcast, listen to the guests that they have on their podcast. So you'll hear time and time again, and you've probably already knew this for years and learned this long ago when you first started turkey hunting. You learned to start your calling sequence kind of low tone. Start with the covert call. Start soft and subtle a little bit, just to verify that there isn't a gobbler just over the knoll there, like 50 yards away, 100 yards away. And if you're not getting any response, if you don't hear any turkey, you don't get a shot gobbler response to that soft, subtle call, and after 5-10 minutes. So then maybe it's necessary to amp up the volume a little bit, go a little louder. So start in tiers. Start soft, subtle, hear nothing responding for a while, then get a little louder, a little more excitable, louder, and then so on and so forth. So I recommend that when using this fourth tactic of when sometimes it's necessary to call loudly and aggressively, to still start out subtle and soft, just in case, because obviously you got the thick foliage, the thick forest. You could have a knoll or ridge up ahead, and you might not see what's down in the other ridge down over the hill up ahead. So that soft, subtle covert call first. Very necessary to just see, to verify, okay, there are no gobblers nearby. Okay, now I'm going to get a little louder, right? Call a little more louder. Some cutting. Some little cutting. And then excited, loud yell. And then still, if nothing, no, after 5 minutes of waiting and listening, still no shot gobbler gobbling on their own or anything. No, you're still not hearing any turkey coming. You're not hearing that telltale like the turkey's walking through the leaves or anything. Then maybe amp it up a little more. Turn up the volume to your calling more. Get even louder and more aggressive and urgent to really reach out there a long distance through the forest and to cut through the wind. So yeah, and also going hand in hand with this fourth reason why, or was this third reason? Fourth, I may have lost count, everybody. See, that's what was unique about these live streams. They're raw, no editing, and I probably skipped one. I think I'm on the third reason, aren't I? Fifth, I think fourth. Yeah, let's say I'm on the fourth reason. I've been live long enough. Let's cut to the chase, right? Let's finish the fourth reason and get on to the number 5. So, yeah, it could be too that you're in an area that you haven't hunted often, maybe never. It could be a brand new area. So maybe it is that you want to get your calling out there. You want to reach long distance, and it could be like a 5-8 mile per hour wind gust. Could be slightly windy, especially if it's like mid-morning, almost near midday, and you're just wanting to get a response. You just want to know that there are gobblers in this area you're hunting. So that could be a good reason to call loudly and aggressively. So thank you, Zach, for all your support, for joining the chat. Thank you for that experience you shared. Who else is taking kids out this youth day? Maine's youth day is the 2nd, May 2nd, this coming Saturday. I'm hoping to get my son out. I've been getting him mentally prepared. I've been letting him know it's coming, and I've been prepping for our youth day. So how many of you out there that are on this live stream with us, how many of you have kids or nieces, nephews, wherever, that you're going to take with you this youth day? Let us know in the chat. And what is your plan? You know what I really would like to know, and I'm sure my viewers, we'd all love to know, what's your first tactic you're planning on using? What's your approach for this coming youth day? Are you going to hunt in a blind with a decoy spread and just sit there and wait it out all day, do some covert calling every now and then? Or are you going to run and gun with your youth hunter? Or are you going to go to a new area and try strike up gobblers to see if there are gobblers in this new hunting grounds of yours that you're going to? What's your approach or your tactic you're planning on using with your youth hunter? Let us know in the chat. And also, to chat away, let us all know, let me know and the viewers know, what are some of the turkey hunting tactics you've used through the years that have worked for you time and time again that help you be successful. We'd all like to know, because we want to fill gobbler tags this spring too. Please spill the beans. Let us know what's your go-to calling tactic, go-to turkey hunting tactic that just has worked for you time and time again. Do you just go to an area where that you've known for years that have always held turkey, always have held nesting hens and gobblers mating with hens and hens nesting and gobblers coming to and from checking gobbler hens? Like, well, obviously as the hens break off to nest their nesting ground, start laying their eggs and nest, they're going to be alone, and they're going to be loner hens. And the gobblers, they kind of spread out too as well. They start traveling their home range much more widely, going from hen to hen to hen to hen. What they're doing is they know where these hens are hanging out. They've been to that area to mate that hen. They've bred with that hen. They know where that hen is. They know about where that hen may be nesting and hanging out, feeding. So they're going to circle their home range, going from hen to hen. So maybe it's your approach to just your tactic this youth day to go to an area where you know there's been a lot of turkey activity through years and just set it out, wait out, periodically do some covert calling and wait for that traveling gobbler to finally work his way into your area. A lot of times you just have to sit back and be patient. In an area where you've done your thorough scouting, you've been there, you've hunted there, you've been for years, you know this hunting area, you've killed gobblers there in the years past. This year the sign has been good. You've found strutting marks, drag marks on the dirt roads and the dirt where from strutting gobblers. You found gobbler tracks, fresh gobbler tracks, gobbler scat. You found scratching in the leaves. You found dust baths, dust bowls, dust baths. You found all the fresh sign indicate turkey are still using that area this year. And so a lot of times it's wise to just go to an area like that and just sit all day. Just every now and then do a covert call in sequence and be quiet for 10, 20 minutes. Then do some more light clucking and then a little 2-note yelp or 3-note yelp and some cluck and some purr. And that thing's horrible. Yeah, and then just wait it out and wait. Eventually a gobbler will come into the air, be within earshot. A lot of times sitting, being patient, waiting all day in a blind, or sitting back and just enjoying the serenity and the enjoying the forest, listening to the birds and watching the wildlife, watching the nearby deer and so forth. So a lot of times a gobbler will eventually work his way into your area sometime throughout the day, and he'll answer your call and your covert call and let you know the game is on. This is how I probably 80% of the time shoot my gobblers, and 80% of the time that when I'm successful, this is about the tactic and approach I use, and it works time and time again. It's worked for me year after year after year, and so eventually gobblers will work their way in. If you're seeing hen, a lot of times I have a hen in sight, like since I've been sitting there since daybreak. A lot of times the hens fly off their roosts and they're feeding around nearby where their nest. And if I see a hen, I'm watching a hen outside my blind, I know she's got a nest real close by. She's going to eventually move off to her nest about midday. They, for some reason, they like to lay an egg around midday, late morning, midday, early afternoon, until all eggs are laid, and they don't start sticking with the nest long term and incubating the nest and the eggs long term until all eggs are laid. They lay an egg a day. That's why you'll see the hens off feeding and alone by themselves, because they're still laying eggs. But once they're all laid, you're not going to see the hen anymore. They'll be gone for probably 28 plus days, 30 days while they're incubating the eggs. stick with that nest. They may get up to defecate and stretch and feed a little bit, but then they'll immediately go right back to laying on that nest. But while the hens are still actively feeding, they're still just laying. Those gobblers are circling their home range, going from hen to hen. And so you just sitting back, being patient, every now and then doing some soft, subtle calling. Eventually you'll probably get a response from a gobbler that's worked his way in, and then it's game on. But I've been successful doing just that time and time again. So the number 5 reason why, the 5th reason, everybody, that you all been waiting for, as to why it might be important to call loudly or more aggressively and urgently sometimes. It could be that you have a hung up gobbler. It could be that you've been playing a gobbler all morning. He's shot gobbled way off, a couple hundred yards away. You got him to close the distance, and maybe he hung up out there 60, 80 yards, and you don't have a shooting lane. Maybe you don't quite see him yet. He's out of shotgun range, and you don't have a shot. And he's hung up, and maybe he's starting to like drift off and drift further away. He just won't close the distance to give you that shot. That could be the time to get more urgent with your call. Get more excitable. Get more loud. And it could be that he's a older, more mature Tom, and you sound more. You start the excited cutting. Start cutting real excitably. Do some excited hen yelp. That could be all that it takes to really turn him and bring him in closer, because you're triggering in him that breeding response. Like, oh man, that hen really wants me. She wants me there now. And that a lot of times that could be all it takes to get him to close that 20, 30 yard distance, to give you that 20, 30 yard shot, right? And it could be too that he's going away, or he's hung up, he doesn't want to close the distance. It could be necessary for you to sound like you're losing interest, and that you're going away, that you the hen, is drifting off yourself, and you're going away, and you calling still excitably and loudly, and sounding like you lost interest in him, and sounding like you're going away. Like maybe angle your call. You can steer a turkey. You can get a turkey to come over to your right. If you angle your calling, hold it down low and angle your calling to your right, to drift your calling off to your right in the woods this way. You could steer a turkey, get a turkey to come over to your right to get a shot over here. Or you could turn your calling to the left. You could steer that turkey to the left. So you could call loudly, aggressively behind you, maybe lower to the ground, make it sound like that hen's lost interest in him and she's going away. And that could be all it takes to get that gobbler to close the distance 20, 30 more yards so you can get that killing shot. So there you have it, everybody. The 5 reasons why it might be necessary sometimes, really, during your turkey hunt, to call loudly and more aggressively and urgent. And obviously, too, I want to stress that a lot of times when you get that gobbler's attention and he's coming, a lot of times it's necessary to dub down, to lower the volume. Once he's close, once he gets to within 100 yards or closer, that's a good time to if you plan on calling to him more, that would be a good time to tone it down. Go back to your 30% volume that call makes. Go back to that covert call and just start doing the 2-3 note yelps. And see if he like immediately cuts you off in response to that, letting you know that you got to like take his temperature, right? You've got to pay attention to when he gobbles and why he gobbles, and pay attention to his urgency and his excitement. So you can take his temperature, gobbler's temperature, to let him so that you know, okay, he's coming. He's coming on a string. Or in some cases too, if you're paying attention, listening to him closely, he might let you know if he's hung up or if he doesn't want to come in. So, but if he is coming, that gobbler is coming, you've got his attention. He's turn that volume down. Maybe go back to just the 2-3 note yelps, the covert call. Maybe just cluck a couple times to get that response, to let you know he is still coming. And then there's a time too to shut off the call altogether. Maybe when you know he is under 100 yards and he's at 60, 80, 60 yards, and maybe put the call down. No more calling. Let him keep coming. He's going to, at this point in time, come in looking, head held high, half strutting. He's looking and listening for the hen. If you're in the woods, hopefully you're in a woods setting. If you're out in a wide open field, he would probably hang up out there 100 yards, not come all together, especially if he can see your hen decoy or something. It's nature's way to get that, for him to display his beauty, his colorful beauty, and it's nature's way for that gobble to be appealing to the hen, to pull the hen to them, right? The gobblers attract the hens to them. It's nature's way. So out in a wide open field, he could still hang up altogether and still never come, especially if he saw you move. If you're on a field's edge, you're wide open, you got too much distance between you and him, he could catch your finger twitch or something. He might hang up altogether. He might go away. It's best to have a setup where the longest distance you have between you and the edge of the woods or you and the edge of a field is no more than 60 yards. You want to make sure your longest distances are within shooting range for you. So when that gobbler appears, you can kill him no matter where he appears. If he appears over the left, right, in front of you. If the longest distance is only 60 yards, you might be able to kill him with your full choke, 3.5-inch shell, 12-gauge shotgun. You might be able to reach him at 60 yards. But I advise probably setting up where your longest distance is no more than 50 yards and under. So no matter where that gobbler appears, you can get a shot off. So when he's coming, the gobbler's coming, he's approaching your setup, and he's under 100, and you're confident knowing he's coming, like now, and you're probably going to kill him within a few minutes. And it's wise to shut right up. No more calling by you. Be quiet. Let him keep coming. Let him keep looking for the hen. It's going by him not hearing you anymore. And he's not far away anyway. You know he only needs to come 30 more yards and you can kill him. So by you not calling anymore, so he's going to keep coming to look and listen in hopes that he does hear the hen, in hopes that he does see that hen, so he knows where she's at. So he's wanting to come to her. And if you let him keep coming, he's going to close that distance, and boom, lights out, dirt nap, gobbler tag filled. You got your spring gobbler. So there you have it, everybody. The 5 reasons why it might be necessary sometimes to call more urgently, louder, more aggressively. So I want to thank Zach for joining the chat, sharing his story, his experience. He says, that's how I killed my last. So Zach said, that's how I killed my last bird. It was like a cat and mouse game. He hung up. I moved away, called away from him. He didn't like that, and he came in gobbling almost every 15 seconds. That's awesome. And so yeah, that's a great go-to turkey hunting tactic for all to keep in their bag of tricks, is to, when you have a hung up gobbler that's playing hard to get, a gobbler just doesn't want to come, you could do what Zach just said in the chat, to play that cat mouse game with him, for you to drift away, call a little more, make it sound like the hen lost interest and the hen's going away, and that's going to fire up that gobbler. He's not going to like that. A gobbler isn't going to want to lose a breeding opportunity. Those toms, those gobblers, especially the mature older gobblers, are not going to want to lose an opportunity to breed a hen in the spring. You're playing on his breeding instincts. So you going away, straying away, and calling over here a little 50 yards further, it's going to pull him. It's going to get him coming. And a lot of times that works perfectly. Then when you verify he's committed to your approach, your setup, where you are, then beeline it for a tree trunk to get into the shade somewhere up against a tree trunk and wait and get your gun ready, because you'll probably kill that gobbler within 5 minutes. So that's a great turkey hunting tactic, Zach. And I've used that, and obviously you have used that with success. A lot of turkey hunters use that approach, especially when you're by yourself. A lot of times if you're hunting with a buddy, you can have the buddy doing the calling, set up 30, 40, 50 yards behind you, and have the buddy straying off, have the buddy doing the calling, to coaxing in that gobbler. and that gobbler is obviously going to be closer to you, you being the shooter. That's if you're you're doing a tandem turkey hunting with a buddy. But when hunting by yourself, that's a go-to approach, definitely, Zach. Using that tactic, that's a great one. So, all right. Well, thank you everybody for joining me live. I hope all of you learned a thing or two. If this live stream was helpful in any way, shape, or form, could you guys please hit the like button for me, and definitely subscribe to Spikes and Gills YouTube channel. I upload regular mainstream YouTube videos once a week. I go live every Wednesday nights at 8:30 p.m. I upload a handful of shorts videos per week. I upload a lot of videos every week, so you won't want to miss any of my uploads. So definitely subscribe to Spikes and Gills. Click the notification bell so you'll be notified of all my uploads. So you can watch my YouTube shorts, my YouTube episodes, and so you'll be notified of my posts that I make before my live streams. I always will make a post. Sometimes I post a short talking about what my live stream will be on Wednesday night. So you definitely mark your calendars and set an alarm on your phones for every Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. So you'll be like, oh yeah, Justin's live. Spikes and Gills live. I got to get on the computer or on my phone and watch Justin live. So every Wednesday nights, 8:30 p.m., everybody live. So definitely subscribe, hit the like button, especially if this live stream was helpful in any way, shape, or form, if you learned anything. Even if you learned just one thing that I did my job correctly, definitely click the like button if that's the case. So thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Hope you all have a good night. Best of luck this Youth Day and opening day, May 4th. Hope all of you are successful. Hope you all have a wonderful turkey hunt this year. All right, everybody. I'll see you next Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m.